Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. My name is Paul Delaria, and I'll be your host of Do Hard Things Tech View. And today I have the privilege of introducing us to a great partner, AppDynamics. But before we get into that, I just want to give you a recap of what Do Hard Things Tech View is. It's a breakout session from an overall theme we have here in our region around doing hard things, which it means inspiring, informing, and immersing our customers and our partners in the things that are difficult to do that the cloud and AWS and our partners make simple. So with that, I have the honor and privilege of being here today with two of my esteemed colleagues, Subarno Mukherjee and Wayne Brown from AppDynamics. Gentlemen.
Hey, Paul, how's it going today?
It's going. I'm excited to have you on Do Hard Things TV. This is a great honor of mine. I've used AppDynamics for many years, so I wanted to get
Thank
you
you for
guys
having
on
us.
this and pick your
Yeah,
brain
thank you.
for quite a while.
Thank you for having us, Paul. Thanks a lot. Good to be here.
Yeah, you bet. And thanks again, Subarno, for taking some time out of your day. Tell me
Sure,
a little
sure.
bit about yourselves, Subarno and Wayne, and AppDynamics.
Yeah. So I'm based out of Texas, Dallas, as you can figure out from my Texan accent.
Right.
And I'm with AppDynamics Cisco family for almost 3 years now. Joined right after, we got acquired by Cisco. And since then, AppDynamics as a company, we are focusing on broadening our capability to monitor and manage applications. Just beyond the core APM, we are focusing more on broad observability vision, and which has been also an key area for Cisco. So together, we are trying to create a platform where we would not just offer APM monitoring, but also we can assimilate information from different sources, infrastructure, public cloud, data center, network, security, and then bring them all together and create an broad observability platform for our customers, so they don't have to really have different tools, different platforms for their monitoring need.
Yeah, that's a great summary, Subarno. And something I've noticed this year, especially in 2021, but 2020 as well, is that it's really especially this month in particular, it's measure what matters March for me. And what that really means is, you'll hear our leadership, people like Andy and others talk about it. It's important to get it right and to not guess. And if you think about it, right, one person might say the building is 16 feet high, and the other person might say the building is 10 feet high. But sometimes it's not okay to compromise and just both say, well, let's both agree it's 13 feet high, because there is a right answer and there is truth. And our business outcomes depend on the accuracy and the preciseness of the data that we measure, along
right.
with measuring the things that are important.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit more about your relationship with AWS and some of the problems that you solved with us.
Absolutely. So we are one of the top partners with AWS. We are listed in the marketplace like for a little more than 2 years now, and as you could see, we have been consistently in the top 5 sellers within AWS marketplace, which tells that how significantly our customers, AWS customers, are using AppDynamics to solve their problem of monitoring cloud or hybrid cloud. We engage with AWS in different forms and fashions beyond marketplace, which is a selling and procurement mechanism. We have our engineering team constantly working with AWS. Like our team, myself, Wayne, we work a lot with AWS to build new solutions, to validate solutions that we can offer combined manner to our customers. We are constantly keeping up with the innovation that AWS is coming up with, and make sure we can extend support to those new technologies and services, for example serverless, CloudWatch integration, just to name a few.
Yeah, I understand. So Subarno, tell me, why is this such a hard problem? I mean, we're trying to do hard things here and make them simple, but tell me what does it really mean to a business? I mean, what impact does solving this problem, this
Right.
hard problem, really mean for a business?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me start with an example. We have a customer called Solar Turbine, which is a AWS customer and our customer as well. And they started, working with a huge application which they want to modernize and move into AWS public cloud. And it's not an easy journey, correct? Because they had a legacy application. Some pieces of that they want to move to the cloud. Some pieces of the application they want to rewrite in a completely cloud native way, correct?
Right.
So it's about it's about a mishmash, correct? It's like some of my footprint is still going to be older technologies, and at the same time I'm also adopting Solar Turbine is also adopting some newer generation services like EKS, Fargate, and Lambdas of the world. So the challenge is how can really they have a matured and robust monitoring platform that can help them to accomplish their hybrid vision of monitoring. So we are seeing constantly that the adoption of cloud is not, flip of a switch. It is more like a journey where we need to take care of our old baggage. At the same time, we need to make sure we can constantly increase our reach so we can focus into the newer services as well.
Right.
Um,
Right. I often think of it, right. We talk about cloud allows you to uh, make decisions faster, right? But in order to do that, you have to have the right data to make those decisions, those two-way door and one-way door decisions. You have to, it's a given, you have to save money. It's a given that you have to focus on business outcomes, right? But I think the other thing that, measuring what matters and doing it and making these hard things simple that you guys do really well, which we'll get into in a second, is, it also protects the image of the brand, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of these
Absolutely.
companies, it's a digital world that we live in, and you guys know this for a long time. And if you're not measuring the important things and you miss something, your image of your brand is impacted.
That's right. A lot of our customers, they use AppDynamics and AWS to run and execute their mission critical applications, which are used every second by their customers, right? Think, we are like myself, I bank with Chase, and most of the time I use my app. So that is my branch, correct? I no longer need to go to a bank branch anymore.
Yeah.
So
So
we have ton of customers who are using such mission critical applications, and how can we, correlate the application performance with the business is the key.
right,
So we can show if there is really a degradation in the app performance, how much impact that is making to the business.
understood. And doing that in a very data-driven way is
Yeah,
really important.
exactly.
And moving workloads to AWS and proving it to a skeptical audience can be difficult to do, and having that
Yeah,
visibility.
absolutely.
So
Yeah,
I understand that, and this is TechView, and it's important to have a good understanding of the business outcomes that are driven from the technology. But technology people want to see this thing. They want to see it work. They want to look at the data, look at the details, and see examples. Are you guys prepared to show us what AppDynamics looks like today?
sure. Bring it on.
I like it.
I,
All
I was
right.
ready for this.
You were?
I was
Wait.
hoping you would bring this up.
Yeah,
Wayne is
you
our
never
Wayne
know.
is our demo machine.
You never know. I'm a random variable because I'm a human being, so you never know what's going to
That's
happen
all right.
next.
So one of the things that, like you said, it's always about convincing the skeptics, and it's always about, how can we not only prove that, something needs to happen with data, but also prove with that same set of data, after this action has been executed, that this move was a success. And that's what we at AppDynamics are doing. We're able to take application performance data, put it in the context of the business, and then present that validation to the important stakeholders that make the decisions to say, yes, let's move forward with this, or let's not move forward. So what we're looking at here is we have an example of what an application owner would look at day in and day out. This tells me how my application is doing. I am the application owner for this company called AD Financial, and right now I'm having some issues. Thanks to the monitoring that AppDynamics provides me, I'm able to not only see the performance metrics and my response time for my key components of my application, but I can also see the holistic view of all of the services that make up that application. And more importantly, what steps along my ideal user journey are, in a critical state.
So,
As we can
so
see,
it, if if this is it's a digital world that we live in, and it's a digital first engagement with your customers.
yep.
This is really your visibility into the front door of your business now. Like how many people are walking through the door, and what's that first experience like?
Absolutely. More and more nowadays, as Sabarno alluded to, with doing all of his banking through a mobile app, your application is your business, and that's where your revenue comes from. And if that application performance is impacted, then that's going to drive down the customer experience, and I'm going to go to a competitor.
So,
And
what you're telling us here is that the person that just walked through this AD Financial's front door is probably not really impressed right now with what they're seeing.
not really. I mean, they were trying to take advantage and get in on some stock trading. I'm pretty sure they were looking to buy some shares in GameStop, but
Right.
really couldn't because I mean it was performing pretty poorly. And so in addition to having this this visibility in this form with the analytics and the dashboarding capabilities that AppDynamics is providing AD Financial, we can also get visibility into the application itself as a whole. So when I look at this screen, I see all of the services. I can see all of the data flows that are going between the various services that make up my application. I've got my performance metrics that that I can take a look at. I could see that I've got some spikes in response time that's driving down my experience. But then I take a look at our transaction scorecard, and we measure and score every interaction that comes through the application, and it gets graded and put into one of 5 different buckets. If I look at this application as a whole, it looks okay. I mean, 10, 11% of transactions are slow or very slow. I mean, I'm not going to be screaming and jumping up right away to address this, but
Right.
it's all about the context. You know, there may be hundreds of different application functions that make up this application. And if everything is fine except for the critical parts where AD Financial is making the money, then this view doesn't tell the whole story.
Right. This is essentially a visual representation of the digital storefront. We just walked through the front door and it was okay. And if we were
Yeah.
going to walk to the back of the store where it's not very busy, it's probably green. But if we're going to go over to the electronics counter, it might be a little busier over there, right? Those are where the red.
Exactly. And that's what AppDynamics calls business transactions. It's like you said in your analogy, it's the different areas of the application, as well as the different ways that people are using the application. If I look at this screen, I could see, according to this, the health of everything looks okay, except for the 3 key functions where I actually end up making revenue as part of AD Financial, which is where I'm going in and researching stock, where I get a quote on making a transaction, and actually processing the trade in the very end. And those 3 are showing red, and that concerns me because that's where AD Financial is making the money.
So let's say I'm the CIO or the CTO of AD Financial, and I'm listening to my peers, and I call the shot, and I'm ready to make the call. Let's move this application to the cloud. Let's go all in on AWS.
Yep.
And I have some skeptics in my executive team that I work with, or even within my own team, that are skeptical that moving into the cloud is going to solve a problem, these
hmm
business problems. Um, what does that look like? How does this help?
So earlier where we were looking at that topological view of all of the components of the application, we fast forwarded in time to where we have started to migrate, some of the key components of our application and moving them into AWS. And now that's showing up as part of our topology that we have here as part of our AD financial cloud deployments. And I can drill into there and I can see these are all the different services that make up, how we've not only moved some of our applications from a legacy data center into AWS, but also have done some splitting out of those, more monolithic services into smaller microservices, as well as take advantage of some of the services that AWS offers, such as DynamoDB and S3 and some queuing technologies. And the results from this and this after this migration has happened are starting to come through and validate the decision that we made here to at least start the process of moving. So we see on this screen that we do have a spike in load, but our response time is still relatively even. That's a good sign. I mean, would you agree on that?
So more customers are able to get into the storefront and get
Yes.
their orders fulfilled. And we're just
Yes.
noticing that there's more customers in the door.
Yes, exactly. And so as part of this, we're starting to see this, but that's really it's not that data driven evidence that skeptics would need to take a look at. And what we've done is we've done a post migration version of our dashboard that we had earlier, where now we're starting to see some elements improve of our overall application. We see now that 2 of the 3 steps that were reporting critical in our user journey are now looking better because of this migration to AWS. We still see some of our data center infrastructure is still showing red because we are doing this in a blue-green deployment. Importantly, our AWS infrastructure is looking good, and the cloud components of our key critical application functionalities are performing as as optimally as we expect here.
So when I look at this, I could project, say, this is what it is today on the left, and this is what it will be like tomorrow. And then not only project that, but be able to back that up with data to prove it that they can drill down into after it's migrated.
Exactly. But most important of all, not only be able to convey this to your application owners and people who run the application, but also convey that in a business context to the key stakeholders of your business to be able to draw that correlation between how's my application performing and how's my business performing.
Or like you used to say in the past, how many people went through the door and how much revenue did I make at the end of the day?
Exactly. And we're validating that migration as well, not only from the performance context, but also from how many people are we getting through that proverbial door and how many people are transacting all the way through.
But Wayne, I'm an architect and you're an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, nobody, architects and engineers tend to, the executives like these types of dashboards, which allow us to really show the business value. But how would an engineer look at this data? I mean, is this data going to be useful to someone who's actually running the applications?
I would say this particular dashboard right here is going to definitely be more geared towards the business owner. But if we go back to this dashboard that we're looking at here, this type of dashboard is going to be more applicable to someone who is monitoring the health of an application and making sure that all of their services are performing optimally.
Understood. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. I really appreciate the unpacking of some of this reporting data that you shared with us and showing how critical it is to measure what matters when it comes to moving workloads to AWS. And
Thanks for having
really thank you
us.
for your time today and kind of going one step deeper and in immersing our customers in what it takes to move and how to measure that. It's always interesting if someone wanted to reach out and connect with you and learn more about AppDynamics and your relationship with AWS, and maybe even that project you mentioned, the solar turbines project. How would they go about, how would they do that?
Well, so our product is listed on AWS Marketplace, and usually you can connect to us through that. And also we published all of our win stories on AWS Marketplace portal as well. So yeah, feel free to take a look at all the services that we have up in Marketplace and get in touch with us.
And the last thing I'd ask you to do, if this was valuable to you, give it the thumbs up in our YouTube video, and leave a comment. And
Sure.
we'll be happy to get back with you individually as it makes sense. With that, Subarno, Wayne, this has been great. I really appreciate you guys jumping on and unpacking and diving a little deeper on do hard things and measure what matters March. So
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Gentlemen. Enjoy your afternoon.
You too. Bye-bye.
You too. Thanks.
All right. I think we're done.
Awesome,
I don't know if I hope